Hi, Stash Cairo here at stately Stash Manor in beautiful Chiyoda Ward, Tokyo. It's 14:19, 2:19 p.m. Been up for hours. Good news, I know you're excited. Those two deliveries of which I spoke yesterday on my doo-wop video arrived. Hopefully, A, we've got better audio because I plugged in my studio mic, and B, the other day, talking to Lord Spade, and he said, hey, I watched your doo-wop video. Oh, yeah. Good knowledge of music. Great. Interesting presentation. Mm-hmm. Nice playing to the camera. Mm-hmm. Video quality was shit. No, really? Yeah, video quality was shit. You really should have let me stay and fix the camera. Yeah, sorry. So, I ordered a new video camera from Amazon yesterday. Got delivered this morning. So I'm hoping, baby, this one's better. Because if it's not better, you're never going to see it, so you'll never know. Now, I also mentioned the other day that I ordered the new Oculus Quest 2 VR helmet. One sec. Let me just grab this mother. Here we go. Here it is here. Let me just get this. Jesus Christ. This is it here. I got this thing called the Samsung Gear VR about 2 years ago. It was for the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, and you could click that cell phone into it and get, an okay VR experience, relatively immersive, if a little bit pixelated. But it was fun for watching some 3D movies and such. But last year, a year ago July, I had to go back to Canada for some business. So I was in Toronto, my hometown, and the Oculus Quest had just come out and got some good reviews. So I popped down the street. I used to live around Bay and Elm at a condo there. 2 minutes down the street to the Eaton Center, there's a electronics store there. So I purchased, it was $700 Canadian dollars, the Oculus Quest 1. And man, when I got back to Tokyo and started watching some videos on it, man, amazing, amazing. Now, I've never used these things once for gaming. I'm not a gamer. I use them to watch movies or TV shows in that immersive, like, de facto 80-foot screen in front of you with the Skybox VR player, which is great. Now, here's the cool thing. I heard that the new Oculus Quest 2 was coming out with 4K resolution. I got a 4K laptop. I thought, nah, no way. So it was released day before yesterday, and I got it UPS here overnight from the States. It was supposed to get here last night, but there was a customs problem. Anyway, it arrived this morning early along with the microphone, 2 different courier companies. Here it is here. I watched this British TV show called The Spanish Princess, Episode 1, Season 1. Saw it last year, but I got the 4K rip. Jesus! This thing's amazing. Don't ask me about games. I'm sure it's wonderful. But if you're an insular, person who's hiding out in your home because of this COVID thing, and you want to shut down completely, become completely, self-referential, throw this thing on your head and watch a 4K video or a 3D movie. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's tremendous. One sec here. Let me put it back down. Okay. Now, today, instrumentals. We did doo-wop, or I did doo-wop yesterday, and one of the complaints was, in fact, I got a very kind comment from one of our subscribers that basically said, hey, asshole, the mix was too hot. I couldn't hear what you were saying. Dude, thanks. It was my first time. So this time I have attenuated the background volume of the instrumentals. So hopefully I don't get a comment this time, hey, asshole, I couldn't hear the goddamn music. I gotta stop with the bad language. We're trying to get monetized, And the only time you ever get ads are in the PG stuff. So, hey, let's start. I'm going to play a couple of my favorite instrumentals of all time. Pardon me while I get this silly thing going. I don't remember the order they're in. Let's hit it. What do we got? Oh! The Champs. Tequila. Love this song. If you want to do an instrumental, you've got to be compelling, without the poignancy or the emotional quality of the vocal. How do you grab people's attention? Listen to that sax. It's, you've got to have something that just reaches out and grabs somebody. In this case, you've got the sax, it might be the guitar licks, it might be the drumming, it's a combination of these things. In this particular song, the sax. By the way, the guy who says tequila turns out is the sax player. And I don't know if I think he wrote the song, I'm not really sure, but I'm adjusting my volume. Pardon me, but first time I ever tried tequila, I was probably 16 or 17 years old. And I can remember doing the whole shtick, you know. You had to lick your hand, throw some salt on it, and then you had to knock back the tequila, bite into a live, and give it a quick tug, and you'd have an explosion of flavor. Like, fuck you did. Tastes like gasoline. Now, before you say, oh, no, Stash, you need the good tequila. You need the Jose Cuervo. You need the mezcal with the worm. Nah, sorry, dude. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. Don't like tequila. Tastes like gasoline. So, I mean, back in the day, I was a boozer up until my early 30s. And when I did drink, if I wasn't drinking cider or beer, I would drink whiskey or gin because of my Scottish heritage. My father was Scottish. Stash Cairo is actually a very Scottish name. And people say, is that your real name? It is actually, yes. Stash Cairo. So, I might drink dark rum, but tequila, ugh. But this song, it's so cool, it makes you want to knock back some tequila even if you hate the shit. And that's all about a great instrumental, isn't it? Now, I don't know what comes up next. I'll hear it in a moment or two. But Dick Dale. I was in the audience in the dying days of my marriage when Pulp Fiction premiered. I was there the night of the premiere, the day after. And I remember sitting in the audience with my now ex-wife, and Miser Lou by Dick Dale comes on, and I knew the song, and I swear, man, obscure song in Toronto in the 90s. I remember going, holy shit, I wonder how many people actually know this tune. Unbelievable song. Funny, I had seen Reservoir Dogs in the theater too, and it was like 90% empty when I saw it in the cinema. And I liked it. I didn't love the film, but I thought it was rather stylistically interesting. And I remember reading, like, Reservoir Dogs, what does that mean? Turns out Tarantino was in a cinema lineup with his girlfriend or a woman, and he heard the dude ahead of him say, I don't want to watch no film called Reservoir Dogs. And it was Au revoir les enfants by Louie. So he just grabbed that as his title. But the cool thing about Dick Dale, who evidently always spoke about himself in the third person, Dick Dale does this. He was a left-handed guitarist. That's no big deal. And instead of playing left-handed guitar, he took a right-handed guitar and just flipped it upside down. Also no big deal. But if you flip around a right-handed guitar, you have to restring it. He didn't. So he played upside down. All his chord progressions are inverted. His arpeggiation, everything's wrong. And the other thing is, he's Lebanese American, heavy Arabic influence. So when he plays guitar, he plays it like a mandolin. You'll hear it here. He's double picking. So he's double picking very fast, just listen to it. And at the same time, all of his stuff is upside down. Nobody sounds like Dick Dale. It's an absolutely incredible. This is another example of a song where the hook, that grab you hook just brings you in whether you like it or not. And it's an immediate, a visceral kind of thrill. Love that tune. And I have since the 70s when I first heard it. Shanties. My favorite surf song of all time, Haunting. And, Lord Spade and I, we both agree that minor chords, there's just something ethereal, something inherently melancholic to minor chords, and that's what this has right here. It's just an extraordinary song. These guys who recorded this, and I'm thinking it's early 60s, I don't know exactly when, but these kids were all in high school. I mean, I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, but they're 15, 16, maybe 17 years old when they're doing this. I don't believe they ever had any other hit, but this song is my actual favorite surf song of all time. There's other instrumentals I love, but for surf music, I mean, listen to that, man. Again, we get back to the idea of the hook. Nowadays with sampling, everyone uses the same program with the same drum sample that was some dude in 1980. Now they varied, they changed up and such, but the basis is the same thing. And Lord Spade and I have spoken about this. It's that lack of perfection that creates perfection. When every beat is bang on the line, you know that it's going to sound a tad antiseptic. There's a great YouTube channel, Rick Beato, B-E-A-T-O, and he's a musician, producer, brilliant guy. He's got a bajillion followers, and he releases lots of really cool videos, great production value. But you got to listen to this guy talk, and he's the same thing, you know, sterility of modern music and the lack of real playing. Everyone using it. You know, Lord Spade, my partner, is a record producer, but he's not of that ilk. He really believes in the spontaneity of live sound. You know, there's a couple of cases where, famous cases where the mistakes made the song. Louie, the Kingsman, is the best version. It's one of the most played songs in rock and roll. Someone in the United States, when it came out, thought it was obscene. Someone from the U.S. House of Representatives, and they had a House subcommittee listen to it. I believe they let the NSA try to decipher the lyrics, and they couldn't figure out what they were saying, so they gave up. But, Baroque, 1 second, and they gave up, but the drummer misses his cue or his beat, and you can hear him yell out, "Fuck!" Clearly. Listen to the song, Louie by the Kingsmen. This guy, Mason Williams, he was the head writer on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, that controversial show that aired for 1 or 2 seasons. What was it, NBC? I don't remember. CBS? But he was the head writer. There's a great The Kids Are All Right, the Who film, shows the Who appearing on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. But this guy, Mason Williams, was their head writer. And this is a wonderfully Baroque piece of music. He's playing guitar, very complex. And then, for whatever reason, the producer, I know he recorded this as a straight guitar piece later, but this is the hit from 68. They bring in a whole orchestra, and it's another example of the hook just is so driving, and the guitar playing is so wonderful. One of the other examples I wanted to give you about an error making the piece is the Mamas and Papas, I Saw Her Again. Denny, the lead singer from Halifax, by the way, missed his cue. He came in early. I saw her 2, 3, 4. I saw her again last night. And, you know, it's a mistake. So in playback, they're in the booth listening to the piece. They figure they're going to do another recording of it. But they all listen to it and realize, Jesus, this is great. And if somebody knows this, there's a famous quote about that song. I don't know who said it, but someone said, listening to the piece, that has to be a mistake. Nobody is that brilliant that they would have got to have him come in early and then delay and come in on the cue on time. This piece, too, was a massive hit, something I can remember from my childhood. I don't remember it in 68. I was only 6 or 7 in 68. But, you know, when you've added all this orchestration, it's like Sounds of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. The original was just them and the acoustics. And then when it was re-released with the orchestration added, that's when it became a hit. And there's 2 different versions of it. I like the orchestrated version, but then that's the one that I'm used to. I love this song. I mean, what would you give to be able to play guitar like that? Again, the complexity, the clean picking, the speed with which he does it. We're going to hear later on The Shadows, which is Hank Marvin's band, Sir Cliff Richard, who was his backing band. And he's one of the most influential guitarists ever that practically most people outside the UK have actually never heard of. Listen to this. And there fades away the orchestra, and it ends on a simple note or 2. Absolutely magic. Mason Williams, classical guest here at Stately Stash Manor. What's next? I don't know. It's supposed to be a random play. Oh, the Sufaris, Wipeout. That's the band's manager. Now, how many would-be drummers are out there? My partner, Lord Spade, is a drummer. But, you know, anyone in the world who's ever wanted to play the drums, you learn the basics, the paradiddle, etc. You learn about your basic drum kit, your toms, your snares, etc. This is one of your go-to pieces. And I used to work with a guy at the shopping channel years ago, Steve, who absolutely love this. And it's beautiful because the drumming is of a piece. As we've said at our show, if you've got a drum solo, it has to add something. It can't just be in and of itself. The drumming, the break, is integral to this song. And it's wonderfully driving. And it grabs you. And I can think over the years, the number of people I know who try to tap away and pull off this drumming. And, you know, some get it right, some get it wrong. I can't even begin to try. It's like, what? You see what I mean? When you have a great instrumental, it has to grab you and just pull you in and get you going. You cannot put this on a nightclub without everyone jumping on and doing the Watusi or the Frug or the mashed potato, some other dance from the 1960s. It just gets your dander up, to use an old expression. In fact, it's sometimes difficult even to talk because all I want to do is listen and bop up and down and rock and roll. That's a great driving beat. I remember John Densmore in an interview talking about the Doors' first album and Break On Through. For one reason or another, he decided he was going to use a bossa nova kind of swing beat on that song. And, you know, that's what makes the song. Why did he choose that particular style to do the song? Who knows, but it makes the song. You know, great drummers, Ringo Starr, not flashy, but always a different drum pattern. Or you've got John Bonham, literally kicking the shit out of his drums every time he plays. The great session man, Hal Blaine, or Earl Palmer. Or you've got Keith Moon, frankly a little bit sloppy in the rhythm department, not the great timekeeper, but extraordinary idiosyncratic drummer that with such a unique sound that was, again, so absolutely integral to The Who. Love it. That is one of my favorite drum tracks of all time. Now, what's next? Oh, okay. You want to talk favorite? This song, Walk Don't Run by The Ventures, is my favorite instrumental of all time. I remember it as a kid. There's actually two versions. This is like 60, 61, and they re-released a different version called Walk Don't Run 64. That was a hit again 2 or 3 years after the initial one. And I used to listen to this when I was a kid, and I never knew what the title of the song was. And I can tell you what I found out. When I was in the service, I was in the Royal Canadian Corps of Signals, and I was stationed at Canadian Forces Base Lahr, West Germany, which is a Canadian Air Force base. And if you remember, what was the name of the JR, the Junior Ranks Mess? Was it the Canadian Club? Was it the Maple Leaf Lounge? I don't remember. But they used to have bands, John Kay and Steppenwolf. I saw them there. And they had a German cover band in, and I'm drinking Jägermeister. In a prior video, I mentioned that Jäger means mushroom. No, it means hunter. Master of the hunt, Jägermeister. And just as an aside, in Ontario, they didn't realize that Jägermeister was liquor. You could buy it at a convenience store at any age. So you get 12-year-olds getting Stinko, and they didn't change that until the early 80s. I never heard of it until I was in the service in Germany. So I'm knocking back a shot of Jägermeister, and then a brew, Molson Canadian, at the JRs. And this cover band comes on, Next, we will do The Ventures. Walk, don't run. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Boom. And I'm listening going, holy shit. That's the name of the song. Walk, Don't Run by The Ventures. And, you know, I've been listening to the tune since I was a little boy. And isn't it amazing when you suddenly realize what the song title is? We did a video about Child in Time, Lord Spade and I. Deep Purple Child in Time, where I tell a story about years and years and years. I didn't remember the title of Child in Time until 15 years had passed and my buddy Dirty Al in Vancouver let me know while I was at Pacific Center Mall. Oh, Apache. I worked for IBM in corporate sales and I made a lot of money. And I had a midlife crisis in my mid-40s and I decided I needed a change. So I was going to chuck it all, a career, quit, and move to Japan. Seriously, I just had enough. So I gave my notice, and I left IBM, and a good job, let me add. And I had to wait like months and months and months for a work visa for Japan. It's like 15 years ago. So I ended up, just to kill time, I had cash, but I got a job at an electronics shop in downtown Toronto selling at retail. I was a shit retail salesperson. hard to believe, but I had a bad, I had a bad attitude. And, one day you're doing deals on Bay Street, that's Canada's Wall Street, for $500,000 worth of various componentry. And the next thing you're selling a $1,200 Toshiba laptop. Man, it's a change of pace. But the people at the store were great. They were mostly new immigrants to Canada from various places, but terrific people, really, really good. And on the computer section, there were speakers set up and demo computers. And I had a shortcut on one of the computers that said Stash's exit music. And the shortcut led to an MP3 of this song of Apache by The Shadows. And so when I would leave, I didn't want to work nights. 6 o'clock, I'd leave for home. I would double click on this, and the computer department speakers would come on, and everyone, my colleagues, hey, Stash, see you tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Talk to you guys. And I would walk out the door. And I did this for like however long I worked there, which wasn't that long. And like I said, these are great people. So when I finally got the work visa for Japan, and I told them, and my last day, I was flying to Japan the next morning. I'd left my apartment. It was in a temporary housing. I'd packed up. I'd got rid of my shit. And it was my final shift. So I went and I typed, Stash's exit music. I'm an asshole. What can I say? Unbeknownst to me, the manager had hooked up that computer to the store's PA system. So this time when I click Stash's exit music, this song starts playing throughout the entire store. And I'm almost in tears at this point. I'm looking around, and there's 2 floors. My colleagues start to applaud, and I walk out the door. The customers are all going, what the fuck? And as I walk out the door, this ending is playing. Thank you! I'll see you in Tokyo! Walked out the door, and the store's closed now. I've never been back since. So if any of my former colleagues there are watching, thanks. That was actually one of the most meaningful things that ever happened to me. I think that's the last song. Any comments, anything you want to tell me, please feel free. Regardless, if you think Lord Spade and I are geniuses or idiots, no problem. It's happy to oblige. Oh, and like I say, I'm going to check this video in a minute or two. If it doesn't work, you're never going to see it. And if it does, hopefully it doesn't get blocked. Let me hit this button here, and we'll say goodbye. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll get something up soon.